yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Hello everyone! Hi, it's me. Remember me? Maybe you don't, but here I am. Today I wanted to talk through all of the things that I made in 2021, including things that I'm still in the process of making. And I'll just go through my Instagram, which I changed the name of my Instagram, and you might have noticed my channel as well. So it's no longer Rainy Day Crochet, it's Rainy Day Makes. And the reason I changed my name is because I realized that I was posting a lot of knitting and crochet content, and so I felt like the name kind of didn't fit what I was doing anymore. And I also hope to get into sewing a little bit more and other types of crafts, and so I decided to change the name to reflect my intentions for the next year. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @ Rainy Day Makes. So literally just the last word is what changed, and I'll have that up on the screen. And I'll go through and actually show what I posted on my Instagram throughout 2021. I apologize for the large gap between videos, but I'm back. Hopefully I'll be posting more frequently, so we have that to look forward to in 2022. So the first project I completed in 2021 was actually a scarf. And this was a present that I made for a friend, and they really liked it, and it was my first dive back into knitting after 10 plus years of putting down the needles, so that was really fun. I made this out of scrap yarn that I used for a blanket that I finished in August of 2020, and I had leftover yarn. It was Caron 1-pound yarn, so there was quite a lot left, but not enough of the yellow to make an entirely different project. So I ran out of yellow halfway through and switched to white. I really like how it turned out, and so did the person that I gave it to. And I think that the dual tone of the scarf is pretty unique, so I appreciated that as well. Next on my list is actually a pattern that I created and shared for free on Ravelry and then on Lovecrafts as well. And it is a Bobble Mug Cozie pattern. It's actually been downloaded quite a few times now on lovecrafts.com and Ravelry, which is pretty exciting that people really liked my pattern and are hopefully using it and making lovely cozies for their mugs as well. This is definitely one that I am proud of and will keep making. Next up on my list are some baby overalls, and these are super cute. I've made 4 pairs of these overalls actually that have gone to 4 different babies, and I've gotten pictures of 2 of them in their overalls, and they're so cute. They're so teeny tiny and they're so fun to make, and this is definitely a pattern that I will keep as more people around me start having more babies. Next, I made myself a pair of knitted socks, and I don't have them with me right now because I can't find them. I'm sure they're around the house somewhere, but when we moved, I packed them away because it was close to summertime, so I packed them away in a box that I cannot find, and I'm sure they're here, I just don't know where. But I really did like making these. They were super simple, which I wasn't really expecting for socks, and definitely a pattern that I'll make again. For 2022, I definitely want to get back into sock knitting or explore it a little bit more, and there are some patterns that I've purchased or downloaded for free that I definitely want to give a try in 2022. Next is actually another item that I created, not a pattern, but a video tutorial for, and it's my even moss scarf. And this one was super simple because this pattern works up in chunky yarn very, very quickly, and it was super fun to make this. And I haven't made another one, but I probably will for this winter. I really like those bigger scarves that I can kind of just like hide my face in when it's really cold and windy out on my walks, and this one is perfect for that. Next, I actually made a sewing project. This was my first dive back into sewing, and I really enjoyed it. And actually I have it right here. So I made this little project bag following a tutorial from Little Drops of Wonderful. Allie from Little Drops of Wonderful, she just had like a basic project bag video tutorial on her channel. I followed that, and yeah, it was super fun. I didn't have a drawstring, so I actually just used cotton yarn, and it's worked out pretty well. It actually makes for some nice straps, so it was really easy to carry around, almost like a little tote bag during the summertime, and I really enjoyed making this. So I'll definitely make another one, maybe a little bit bigger, and I do want to add a pocket as well on the inside. You know, it's kind of funny because I started 2021 thinking this is the year that I'm going to dedicate crafting to just myself, and I did end up making quite a few gifts still. You know, some things for myself, but looking back, a lot of it I don't have because I gave it away to people, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but I do kind of wish that I had made more things for myself as well. But anyway, my next project is a blanket, and I made this for my mom, and I really love how this blanket turned out. So my mom really likes the color blush, and I made this Windowpane Blanket. The pattern is by Daisy Farm Crafts, and I made it out of, feels like butter. It's the name of the yarn, and it's really soft. And the reason I use that yarn instead of like an acrylic or wool yarn, number one, my mom lives in California, so wool blanket seems a little much for California, but also my mom is allergic to wool and acrylic, and so I chose this polyester, which I know some people are like, polyester, but it works, okay? In this case, polyester worked great because this one was super soft, so it made it up into a really nice blanket for my mom. And she really liked it. And I was able to give it to her after seeing her in May. It was the first time I was seeing my parents after a year and a half of not seeing them, so it was really nice to be able to give that to her in person. Next, I finished another blanket, this time for my brother, and this actually was supposed to be a present for him almost a year before I finished it, and I just didn't end up getting to it until this past summer, so sorry, Chris, but you still got it. But this was the Boho Puff Stripes blanket by Daisy Farm Crafts. I really like their blanket patterns. They're very straightforward, and I feel like they're very easy to change the size of. Typically, I think they make baby blanket size, but obviously, you know, if you want a bigger blanket, it's pretty easy to actually change the pattern and increase the stitch count to make any size blanket that you want. And I really liked how this one worked out. My brother really liked it as well. And the color is really nice. It doesn't show up well in the picture that I posted on Instagram, but it is a very nice, almost hunter green. It's actually the same yarn, and I'll put a picture up. It's the same yarn that I used for a cardigan I made for my friend, and in that picture you can actually see more of what the color is actually like. After I completed those two blankets, I definitely wanted a project that was smaller and for myself, so I made this top, and it's by the Knit Pearl Girl, and it is the Aosta Cami, and it was so much fun to make. The yarn that I used is a Pima cotton yarn from Cascade Yarns, and it is so soft. If you're wondering if Pima cotton is worth it, 100% it's worth it because it is so soft, so airy, perfect for those light summer knits. And again, it's packed away, so I don't have it out, unfortunately, but I did get some wear out of it. I did complete it kind of late in the summer, so I didn't get all of the wear that I wanted out of it, but I'm excited to wear it for next summer as well. And honestly, I probably could put it over a turtleneck like this one that I'm wearing right now, and just kind of convert it into a winter top if I wanted to. Next up was a super simple crochet project that I made for my little baby cousin, and it was a pumpkin beanie. So cute, and it just was so fun to make because, I mean, baby beanies are so tiny and it's hard to believe that they'll fit someone's head, but babies are just that small and that's cute to think about. I adapted this pattern from a maker called 5 Little Monsters. She had a free pattern on her website and I didn't quite have the materials that she required in her pattern, so I kind of just adapted the stem part of her pattern and then went along with the sizing that she included for the beanie. But it doesn't look the same as her pattern, so definitely check out her page if you are interested in seeing how she made hers. Next up is probably my favorite pattern that I completed in this year, and it is the Rosery Jumper, written by Rosery Apparel, or Janelle from Rosery Apparel. And this one was a labor of love and it was so worth it. I love how it looks. Hold on. Here it is. It's so good. Oh my gosh, I love this pattern so much. I love the color that I chose. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite make of the year. I finished it, I think in November, so I've definitely gotten a lot of wear out of it already with the cold weather that we've been having, and I will continue to get lots of wear out of it throughout the entire winter. I put it over this turtleneck usually, and I love it. It's my favorite. It's probably my favorite sweater that I own. And it's even better because I made it for myself. That one has a special place in my heart because it took a lot of work. It was my first knitted sweater and lace knitting. So yeah, it was intense, but it was well worth the effort for sure. Next up, I made this little backpack, and it's a drawstring backpack, so when you close it, it closes up like this. And again, this was made with scrap yarn, like another project at the beginning of the year, and it's cotton. So I started with white, intending for it to be all white, and then I ran out of white yarn, so I moved to blue, and I actually really like how it turned out. And then I embroidered these little, let's see if I can zoom in on them. I don't know if you can see them, but I made these little tulips. I embroidered the tulips with some other scrap yarn, and I'll include the link for the tutorial I followed for that below as well. Everything for all of these patterns you can find below. You can also find it on my Instagram page as well. And this one I actually didn't have a pattern for. Literally one day I was just like, I kind of want a crochet bag, and I had made, did I make a bag before? How did I know how to do this? I don't know. I kind of just made it up as I went. So the bottom is actually not very even in terms of where I increased stitches, but I basically just went along making... Oh, I know why I knew how to do this, because I've made a coaster before, and it was the same kind of process of increasing so that you have kind of this bottom. And then when I got to the sides, I only crocheted into one, I think the back loop, so that it would, see, don't look at those ends, but so I only crocheted into the back loop so that it would kind of create a base of the bag, so it wasn't just like a sack. So it kind of has like a base at the bottom, and you can kind of see that line where I crocheted only into the back loop, and it created this nice little backpack. I mean, it can't hold much, and I definitely don't want to set it down on dirty surfaces or anything, but it's cute, and it's for times where I'm just kind of walking around and I don't need that much with me, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's really cute. So this maker that I follow on Instagram, named Cosmati, I think is how you pronounce it, has a very similar pattern, and I actually didn't find it until after I made this backpack. So I'll link her pattern. I would kind of feel weird making a pattern when I know there's one that exists that's very similar. So if you're interested in making it, just check out her pattern, and I'll link that down below. I have one last finished project that hasn't been posted yet because it is a gift for someone, and they follow my Instagram, so I didn't want to spoil the surprise, but this video will be posted after I give it to them. But it is a tote bag, with mushrooms on it. Isn't that so cute? So this is a granny square, and I made the mushroom tops and mushroom bottoms separately, and then sewed them onto the granny square, and then sewed the granny squares together, and then made the straps. And this pattern is free on Ravelry as well, so if you wanted to make it, you could. This tote bag is actually based on another pattern. It's based off of the Crochet 365 Knit 2's pattern for a sunflower crochet bag, and this person just used the same construction, but then instead of the sunflower granny squares, they just made their own mushroom granny squares. It's quite a large tote bag, which I really like. I like the size, and I think the person who is going to will really appreciate it because they like plants and mushrooms and all flowers and all things like that, so I think they'll really like it. Now, I did mess it up. The mushrooms are actually supposed to all be vertical and not slanted, and I kind of forgot about that when I was sewing the mushrooms on, but I just went with it. I made it my own, and now it's just kind of a unique little bag for this person. I think it turned out really well, and I made the straps nice and long, and she's my height, so I kind of just used myself as a reference for the size of the bag, or the length of the bag. Now, it is December. It is getting to the end of 2021, and I know a lot of you actually joined my channel because of my video on my temperature blanket, and you might be wondering, where is it? And I'm still working on it. However, I have a lot of catching up to do. There were a lot of things happening in my life, and I stuck to smaller projects that were easier to complete, that didn't require a lot of space or time to work on, and I neglected my temperature blanket for sure, but I am catching up, and I figured out that it takes me about 2 hours to do 1 month. If you don't remember what I'm doing for my temperature blanket, I'll link that video up above so that you can take a look. Basically, I did a row for every 2 days instead of every 1 day, and that has made it a lot easier to catch up. I'm caught up to September. I had to catch up from about June, so quite a lot of catching up to do, but I did do it. And I'm caught up to September, so I should be able to catch up, and I should have it finished by the end of 2021, which is next week. I'm really excited, and I will show you what I have so far, but keep in mind that this is only up until September, so I haven't moved back into the colder months like end of September, October and November really, but I will show you what I have so far. Here is my temperature blanket. So this is what it looks like right now, and again, this is only until September, so I still have a ways to go to catch up to December, but I should be there soon. But yeah, I really like how this blanket is looking so far. I think that the colors I chose go well together. Yeah, I really like it, and I think it's going to be a really special blanket. So just imagine this on the other side, and that's basically what it will look like. So these were the colder months. This was, I think, when like spring started, and then summer, and we had quite a few hot days. We had 2 really big heat waves that were awful. One of them actually knocked out our power, and we didn't have power for like 12-ish hours, so that was super fun. I'm really excited to finish this, and don't mind the ends. I have not yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. So, what are my plans for 2022? Well, similar to my plans at the beginning of 2021, I kind of want to focus on making things for myself and expanding my handmade wardrobe collection. And that includes knitting and crochet, but also sewing. There are a few patterns that I've had my eye on for sewing, and I think I just need a little bit of more practice with the basics first before I dive into making my own clothes, or sewing clothing instead of just basic things. But definitely I want to expand my wardrobe. Obviously there will still be gifts along the way, but I recently picked up some sock yarn and some fabric as well from a thrift store, and then a really cool secondhand craft store that I have near me. So I'm looking forward to making my own clothes and just expanding my skill set in 2022 and exploring more complex projects and patterns and things of that sort. So I think that about wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back probably after the holidays to talk about my temperature blanket and do a review of my pattern, the colors I chose, the stitch pattern I chose. All of those things I will include in a video in the new year. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a relaxing start to 2022. So I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!